The grand chamber of the Galactic Council stretched wide and tall, with smooth curved walls that glowed with soft blue light. 500 representatives from across the galaxy sat in rising tiers, their forms as varied as the stars themselves. Some had too many limbs, others had none. Some breathed water, others breathed fire. But all of them shared one thing today. They were laughing. At the center of the chamber stood Lisa Harmon, the sole human representative to the council. She was a tall woman with dark skin and close-cropped silver hair, dressed in the simple, blue uniform of the Earth Diplomatic Corps. Her face remained calm despite the ripples of amusement spreading through the chamber. "Order," called Grand Arbiter Vexcor, his voice booming through the room. Vexcor belonged to the ancient Morvani race, his translucent skin revealing the complex network of glowing veins beneath. As the head of the council, he had seen many strange proposals in his 300 years of service, but this one seemed to amuse even him. Still, rules were rules. "The council will respect the right of all members to be heard." The laughter faded to snickers and whispers. "Ambassador Harmon," Vexcor continued, "please restate your proposal for the record." Lisa nodded and spoke clearly into the translator disc floating before her. "I propose that humans be added to the list of restricted species under Galactic Law 5962, with appropriate containment protocols established for our expansion and interaction with other civilizations." Fresh laughter burst forth. A representative of the Zalari hive, a tall insectoid creature, clicked her mandibles in their species' version of a chuckle. From the upper tiers, Councillor Zixtal rose to his feet. The blue-skinned Arathi was known for his sharp tongue and sharper mind. His people had been spacefaring when humans were still learning to make fire. "Honored Arbiter," said Zixtal, his voice smooth with mockery. "I believe I speak for many when I ask what possible threat humans could pose to the galactic community. Should we also restrict the expansion of pet Zoobles because one might someday bite someone?" The chamber erupted in laughter again. Lisa did not join in. She simply waited. "The Arathi Confederation recalls," Zixtal continued, "that humans achieved faster-than-light travel a mere 50 standard years ago. My people mastered antimatter weaponry when your ancestors were still riding in wheeled vehicles powered by burning plant matter." "Oil," Lisa corrected quietly. "Pardon?" Zixtal raised a delicate eyebrow. "It was oil, not plant matter. Fossil fuels." "The distinction hardly matters," Zixtal waved a four-fingered hand dismissively. "The point stands. Most species in this chamber have been spacefaring for millennia. Some, like the honored Morvani, have existed as interstellar powers for over 10,000 years. Vexcor gave a slight bow of acknowledgement. "So I ask again," Zixtal said. "What could possibly justify adding humans to the same list that contains the Voklath Horde and the silicon mines of Canis Major, species that have destroyed entire star systems?" Lisa inhaled slowly through her nose. "I have prepared evidence that I believe the Council needs to see." "Evidence?" Zixtal laughed. "Of what? Your dangerous mining operations on that frozen moon, in your home system? Or perhaps the 3 colony worlds you've managed to establish while the Arathi maintain peaceful presence on over 300. Councillor Zixtal," Vexcor cut in, "you have made your point. The floor belongs to Ambassador Harmon." Lisa nodded thanks. "What I have is a data package transmitted from human space 6 months ago. It contains footage that, well, I believe it speaks for itself." She hesitated for a moment, and something in her expression caught the attention of the council members. There was worry there, yes, but also something else. Shame, fear. It was hard to tell with humans. "I request permission to display this footage to the full council," Lisa said. Vexcor considered for a moment, then nodded. "Permission granted, though I remind the council this viewing is a courtesy. No vote has been called." "Thank you, Arbiter." Lisa tapped a sequence into the small device on her wrist, and the lights in the chamber dimmed. Above the central floor, a massive holographic display flickered to life. The image stabilized to show a planet from orbit, a blue-green world, with swirling white clouds and 2 small moons. "This is Epsilon Indy 4, Lisa explained. a frontier world approximately 20 light-years from Earth. 6 months ago, we established a small scientific outpost there to study the local flora and fauna. The image zoomed in, showing a modest collection of buildings in a clearing surrounded by purple-leaved trees. People in white lab coats moved between structures, setting up equipment. This outpost was run by Dr. Alan Mitchell, leading a team of 12 xenobiologists and environmental scientists, Lisa continued. Their mission was purely research-based, in full compliance with Council exploration protocols. The hologram shifted to show a man with a weathered face and graying beard. He looked directly at the camera. Daily log, Epsilon Indy 4 outpost. Day 43, the man said. We've identified 27 new plant species and what appears to be a pack-hunting animal similar to earth wolves, though with 6 legs and remarkable problem-solving abilities. Dr. Wright believes their social structure might be even more complex than... Alan stopped suddenly, looking up. The camera picked up a distant rumble that quickly grew louder. What's that? Someone off camera asked. The footage cut to an exterior view as a dark shape descended from the clouds. It was a warship, its hull covered in sharp angles and protruding weapons. Drakari, whispered a council member, the words spreading through the chamber. The predatory Drakari were not members of the council. They existed on the fringes of civilized space, raiding weaker species and disappearing before council peacekeepers could respond. The Drakari ship landed near the outpost, crushing trees beneath it. A ramp extended and armored figures marched out. They were tall, reptilian creatures with scaled skin and rows of sharp teeth visible beneath their breathing apparatuses. The footage jumped to show Alan standing at the outpost perimeter, hands raised in a gesture of peace as the Drakari approached. I am Dr. Alan Mitchell of Earth, he called out. This is a peaceful research mission under the protection of the Galactic Council. We welcome you to... The leader of the Drakari party stepped forward, taller than the others with red markings on his armor. He spoke, his words translated in subtitles across the bottom of the hologram. Silence, human. This world now belongs to the Drakari Imperium. Your outpost and all research within are now property of High Commander Vreskar. Alan kept his hands visible. We respect your people, Commander, but this world is registered with the Council as a protected research zone. We can contact Council representatives to discuss, the Commander hissed. The Council has no authority here. You have 1 rotation of this world to surrender your outpost and all research. Resist and you will serve as examples of human weakness. In the council chamber, the laughter had completely died away. Many representatives leaned forward, watching intently. The footage showed Alan turning to a woman standing nearby. Dr. Wright, please transmit emergency protocols to Earth Command. The Drakari commander moved with shocking speed, crossing the distance to the humans in 2 bounds. He grabbed the woman, Dr. Wright, by the throat and lifted her off the ground. No communications, he snarled. Please, Alan said, his voice steady despite the fear clear on his face. She's done nothing. We'll comply with your demands. The commander looked directly at Alan, then at the recording device. With a single motion, he snapped Dr. Wright's neck and dropped her body to the ground. A gasp echoed through the council chamber. 1 rotation, the commander repeated, turning back toward his ship. Then we collect what remains. As the Drakari troops retreated, Alan knelt beside Dr. Wright's body. His face was a mask of grief and shock. He looked up at the camera, and something changed in his expression. The shock hardened into something cold and determined. Send the message, he said quietly to someone off-screen. Tell them exactly what happened here. The footage froze on Alan's face, and Lisa raised her hand to pause the playback. This is only the beginning, she said to the silent council. Do you wish me to continue? Not a single voice in the chamber laughed now. No one spoke at all. Vexcor cleared his throat. Continue, Ambassador. The hologram resumed playing. The council chamber remained silent as the footage showed the aftermath of Dr. Wright's murder. Alan Mitchell and the remaining scientists were herded into the main research building by Drakari soldiers. Their hands were bound. and their faces showed a mixture of grief and fear. The Drakari commander Vresikar walked among the captive humans, examining their equipment with casual interest. He picked up a sample container and sniffed it before tossing it. Aside, "Your species collects such useless things," he said. "Dirt samples, plant specimens, what value do these have?" "Knowledge has its own value," Alan replied quietly. "Something your people might learn if you stop taking from others." Vresikar turned slowly. He approached Alan and bent down until their faces were inches apart. The commander's breath fogged. In the cool air of the research station, "You think your knowledge makes you strong?" Vresikar asked. "Your species is young and weak. You have no place among the stars." Alan met the commander's eyes. "We're younger than most, yes, but weakness is relative." Something in Alan's tone made Vresikar pause. He studied the human's face before laughing, a harsh sound that showed all his teeth. "Your counsel will not save you," Vresikar said. "By the time they respond to your distress call, we will be gone, and you will be dead." "We didn't call the council," Alan said. For the first time, uncertainty flickered across the commander's face. "Then who did you contact?" Alan said nothing. Vresikar struck him across the face with the back of his armored hand. Blood trickled from Alan's split lip, but his expression remained unchanged. "Tell me who you contacted," Vresikar demanded. "Earth," Alan said simply. "We called home." The commander laughed again. "Earth? Your homeworld is 20 light years away. No help will arrive in time." "You should know," Alan said, wiping blood from his mouth. "Humans don't respond well to threats." Vresikar struck him again, harder this time. Alan fell to his knees but looked back up at the commander. "You have 1 day to prepare yourselves," Vresikar said. "Then we will show you how the Drakari deal with defiance." The footage jumped forward. A timestamp in the corner indicated 3 days had passed. The view showed the Drakari ship still parked near the outpost, with armed guards patrolling the perimeter. Suddenly, one of the guards pointed skyward. The camera panned up to show a small ship breaking through the clouds. It was sleek and dark, with minimal markings. A simple designation was visible on its hull: USS Defiant. In the council chamber, Zixtal leaned forward. "That vessel is too small to be a warship," he muttered. Lisa Harmon said nothing, but her hands tightened around the edges of her podium. The footage showed the Drakari rushing to battle stations. Alerts sounded from their ship as the human vessel settled into orbit above them. The view switched to inside the research facility, where Alan and the other scientists were watching through a window. Their expressions were hard to read, part hope, part something darker. "They actually sent her," one of the scientists whispered. "Who?" asked another. "Captain Reeves." The footage cut to the bridge of the USS Defiant. A woman sat in the command chair, her posture relaxed but alert. Captain Samantha Reeves had short blonde hair and a face that seemed too young for the 4 silver bars on her uniform collar. Her expression was calm, almost serene. "Open a channel to the Drakari vessel," she ordered. A view screen lit up, showing Vresikar's face. The commander looked amused. "So Earth sent a rescue party after all," he said. "One small ship against a Drakari warbird. Your species truly is foolish." Captain Reeves smiled slightly. "This is Captain Samantha Reeves of the USS Defiant. You are holding 11 Earth citizens against their will. Release them immediately and withdraw from this planet." Vresikar laughed. "You are in no position to make demands, human. But I admire your courage. I will allow you to witness what happens to those who defy the Drakari." He transmitted a set of coordinates. "Come to this location in 1 hour, unarmed. You may retrieve what remains of your scientists after we've finished with them." "Captain." Reeves looked at the coordinates without emotion. "Understood, we'll be there." Vresikar seemed disappointed by her easy submission. The transmission ended. A young officer turned to Captain Reeves. "Ma'am, you're not actually going to—" "No, Lieutenant," she interrupted. "Prepare the package." "Yes, ma'am." The bridge crew moved with practiced efficiency. None of them seemed panicked or rushed, despite being outnumbered and outgunned. The footage switched to an external view as the USS Defiant launched what appeared to be 6 small missiles toward the planet. In the council chamber, several representatives shifted nervously. Primitive kinetic weapons, Zixtal commented, but his voice lacked conviction. The missiles streaked toward the Drakari ship, but halfway there, they simply vanished from view. Back on the Drakari warbird, confusion spread. Their sensors showed the missiles had disappeared. Vreskar ordered a full scan, but his crew found nothing. Their weapons failed, he laughed. Pathetic. But his laughter died when one of his officers collapsed without warning, then another. Within seconds, crew members throughout the ship began falling where they stood, without a mark on them. What is happening? Vreskar demanded, backing away from the fallen bodies. On the bridge of the Defiant, Captain Reeves watched calmly as data streamed across her screens. Nanite deployment successful, reported an officer. They've penetrated the Drakari life support systems. Dispersion at 87% and rising. Any impact on the hostages? Reeves asked. No, ma'am. The nanites are programmed only for Drakari neural pathways. The scientists are unaffected. In the Drakari ship, the camera showed microscopic robots flowing through the air filtration system. Invisible to the naked eye, they swarmed by the billions, entering the Drakari through their breathing apparatuses and targeting their nervous systems with precision. Vreskar stumbled to the communications panel. What have you done? He gasped. As the transmission reached the Defiant, Captain Reeves looked at him with those same calm eyes. We've neutralized the threat you pose to our people. This is impossible, Vreskar wheezed. Your species doesn't have this technology. There's a lot you don't know about humans, Reeves replied. Vreskar fell to his knees, struggling to breathe. The Council will punish you for this violation. The Council didn't come when you murdered Dr. Wright, Reeves said. We did. The Drakari commander collapsed. Captain Reeves turned to her crew. Prep a landing party. Standard recovery protocol. The footage cut to a team of 6 humans in lightweight combat gear disembarking from a shuttle near the research facility. Captain Reeves led them, carrying only a small sidearm. They moved with quick, confident steps toward the building where the scientists were held. 2 Drakari guards who had been outside during the nanite attack attempted to stop them. A human Marine, his uniform identified him as Staff Sergeant Joe Collins, raised what looked like a simple projectile weapon. He fired twice and both Drakari fell, dark blood pooling beneath them. Coded ammunition, Lisa explained to the Silent Council. The bullets contained compounds that neutralize the Drakari natural regenerative abilities. The recovery team entered the building. Lieutenant Olivia Garcia deployed a small device that emitted a pulse of energy. The remaining Drakari guards inside fell to the floor, immobilized by the gravity distortion. Portable gravity manipulators, Lisa noted. Technology that many on this council believed was still centuries beyond human capability. The team moved through the building with surgical precision, neutralizing threats without endangering the hostages. Within minutes, they reached Alan and the other scientists. Captain Reeves, Alan greeted her with visible relief. Your timing is excellent. Always aim to please, Dr. Mitchell, she replied, cutting his restraints. Is everyone accounted for? Alan's face darkened. All except Dr. Wright. Reeves nodded. We know. Her death has been answered. Once the scientists were secured, Captain Reeves activated her communication device. Defiant, this is Reeves. Package is secure. 11 survivors ready for extraction. The face of an older man appeared on her screen. Admiral Jack Harrison's expression was grim. Casualties? He asked. None on our side, Reeves reported. The Drakari have been neutralized. All of them? All except the commander. He's still alive, as ordered. Admiral Harrison nodded slowly. Make sure he understands why this happened, Captain. Yes, sir. The footage froze again and Lisa Harmon looked up at the council. The chamber remained silent, the earlier laughter now completely forgotten. Shall I continue to part 3? She asked. Grand Arbiter Vexcor nodded slowly. Continue, Ambassador. The hologram flickered and resumed. The footage now showed a small bare room with metal walls. In the center sat Vreskar, the Drakari commander. His arms and legs were bound to a chair by simple restraints. The proud warrior looked diminished, now, his scales dull and his breathing labored from the effects of the nanites. Captain Reeves entered the room alone. She carried no weapons and showed no fear as she pulled up a chair and sat across from the Drakari. For a long moment she simply studied him. "Why am I still alive?" Vreskar finally asked, his voice raspy. "To deliver a message," Reeves replied. The Drakari commander tried to laugh, but it turned into a cough. "You expect me to be your messenger? I would rather die." "That option remains available," Reeves said calmly. "But first you need to understand what happened here." In the council chamber, many representatives leaned forward. Some looked uncomfortable, others fascinated. All were silent. "Your species is primitive," Vreskar said. "You achieved space travel only decades ago. How did you develop such weapons?" "Humans have been around for a long time," Reeves explained. "We've spent most of that time fighting and killing each other. When we weren't fighting, we were preparing to fight." She leaned forward slightly. "While the older species of the galaxy were building vast peaceful civilizations spanning hundreds of worlds, humans were perfecting the art of warfare on a single planet. We've had nuclear weapons for over 200 years. We developed biological weapons capable of wiping out our entire species before we even left our atmosphere." Vreskar's eyes widened slightly. "When we joined the galactic community," Reeves continued, "we discovered we were surrounded by older, more powerful civilizations. So we adapted. We kept our most advanced technologies hidden. We appeared weaker than we were." "Why?" asked Vreskar. "Survival," she said simply. "The same reason. You're still alive right now." The footage cut to the research facility. The human Marines were helping the scientists gather their most important equipment and samples. Staff Sergeant Collins approached Captain Reeves with a datapad. "Final sweep complete, Captain," he reported. "We've secured all research materials and personal effects. The Drakari ship has been sterilized and their weapon systems disabled." "Good," Reeves nodded. "What about their communications array?" "Left intact, as ordered. The commander will be able to send a message once we're gone." "And the package?" Collins handed her a small metal box. "Ready for delivery, ma'am." Reeves took the box and returned to the holding room where Vreskar waited. She placed it on the table between them but didn't open it. "Do you know why we didn't just destroy your ship from orbit?" she asked. The Drakari commander didn't answer. "We could have," Reeves continued. "The Defiant carries antimatter warheads capable of reducing this entire continent to ash. We also have orbital rods that could pierce your hull like paper. We have bioweapons that could target your specific DNA and eradicate your entire species." She tapped the box with one finger. "But we didn't use any of those options." "Why?" Vreskar asked, his voice barely audible. "Because humans understand something that the Drakari apparently don't," Reeves said. "The difference between can and should. We can destroy your people, but we choose not to. We prefer peace." She opened the box and removed a small metal disc. "This contains footage of everything that happened here. Your attack. The murder of Dr. Wright. Our response." She set it on the table. "You will take this to your leaders. Show them what happened when they chose to threaten humans." Vreskar looked at the disc. "And if I refuse? Then the second package we prepared will be deployed," Reeves said, her voice still calm. "It contains nanites programmed to target Drakari young. They would be released on your homeworld within the week." The Drakari commander hissed in shock. "You would not. We would prefer not to," Reeves corrected him. "But make no mistake, Commander. If forced to choose between your species and ours, we will always choose our own." In the council chamber, several representatives shifted uncomfortably. Grand Arbiter Vexcor's glowing veins pulsed more quickly, betraying his agitation. The footage continued. Reeves stood and moved toward the door. "Wait," Vreskar called. "What message do you want me to deliver with this?" Reeves turned back. Tell your people that humans will meet peace with peace, but we will always match escalation. Today, you killed one of us. We responded by immobilizing your crew. Next time might be different." She looked directly at the Drakari. "I want your leaders to understand that humans aren't dangerous because we want to be. We're dangerous because we had to be." The footage shifted to show the USS Defiant departing the planet's atmosphere, leaving behind the disabled Drakari vessel. A small shuttle detached from the human ship and landed near the Drakari craft. Marines escorted Vreskar to his ship, leaving him with the data disk and his freedom. As the shuttle rejoined the Defiant, the camera zoomed in on Captain Reeves watching from a viewport. Her expression was somber, with none of the triumph one might expect after a successful rescue mission. Lieutenant Garcia approached her. "Captain, the scientists are settled in their quarters. Dr. Mitchell would like to speak with you when you have a moment." Reeves nodded. "How are they?" "Physically fine. Mentally?" Garcia hesitated. "They watched Dr. Wright die. That doesn't heal quickly." "No," Reeves agreed quietly. "It doesn't." "Permission to ask a question, ma'am?" "Go ahead." "Would we really have deployed the second package?" Garcia asked. "Against their young?" Reeves turned to face her lieutenant. "No, that was a bluff. We needed him to understand the stakes." Relief showed on Garcia's face. "But," Reeves continued, "he needed to believe it was true. And the only way to make someone believe you would do something unthinkable is to convince yourself it's possible just for a moment." She looked back out at the stars. "That's what makes humans dangerous, Olivia. Not our weapons or our technology. It's our willingness to cross lines when we have to, while hoping we never have to." The scene shifted to Earth Command headquarters. Admiral Harrison sat across from Captain Reeves reviewing her mission report. "The scientists are back safe," Harrison said. "The Drakari have been warned. I'd call that a success." "Yes, sir," Reeves replied, "but Dr. Wright is still dead." Harrison's face softened slightly. "We can't save everyone, Sam. You know that." "I know. But sometimes I wonder if we're solving problems or creating new ones." "How so?" Reeves gestured to the report. "The Drakari will spread the word about what happened. Other species will hear about our capabilities, the ones we've kept hidden. And," Harrison prompted, "and now they'll either fear us or try to acquire our technology. Neither option leads to peace." The Admiral leaned back in his chair. "Maybe. Or maybe they'll respect our boundaries now that they understand the cost of crossing them." "Do you believe that, sir?" Harrison sighed. "I believe humans have been fighting our whole history. I believe we're good at it. Too good sometimes. But I also believe we want more than just survival. We want to belong in this galaxy." He tapped his desk, bringing up a hologram of the Milky Way, with thousands of tiny lights representing inhabited worlds. "There are species out there thousands of years ahead of us technologically," he said. "Others who've been at peace so long they've forgotten what conflict even feels like. They see us as children playing with dangerous toys." "Aren't we?" Reeves asked quietly. "Maybe," Harrison admitted, "but children grow up. The question is, what will we grow into?" The footage froze on the image of the galaxy map, with Earth marked as a small blue dot on one of the spiral arms. In the council chamber, Lisa Harmon raised her hand, pausing the playback again. She looked up at the assembled representatives, all traces of laughter now gone from the vast chamber. "Shall I continue to the final part?" she asked. Grand Arbiter Vexcor looked around at the silent council members. Many nodded. "Continue, Ambassador," he said, his voice more subdued than before. The hologram continued, showing a new timestamp 6 weeks after the incident at Epsilon Indy 4. The scene was a large chamber on what appeared to be a Drakari world. The room was filled with high-ranking Drakari officials, their scales more colorful and their armor more ornate than the soldiers seen earlier. At the center stood Vreskar, looking thinner than before but standing straight. He placed a familiar metal disc on a pedestal in the middle of the chamber. The footage they had just seen began playing for the Drakari leaders. "This is what happened when we attacked the human outpost," Breskar explained, his voice stronger. Now, one human died. In return, they neutralized my entire crew without destroying our ship. The Drekari leaders watched in silence, their expressions difficult for non-Drekari to read, but their rigid postures suggested shock. The humans could have killed us all, Breskar continued. They chose not to. Instead, they sent me back with a message. An older Drekari with deep red scales and elaborate golden armor stepped forward. You expect us to fear these newcomers because of one encounter? I expect you to understand what we face, War Master, Breskar replied. These are not like the other soft species of the Council. These humans have weapons we have never seen before. They have technologies they have kept hidden from the galaxy. All species hide their true strengths, the War Master dismissed. It is the way of the galaxy. Not like this, Breskar insisted. The humans achieved space travel less than a century ago, yet they have nanite weapons that can target specific neural pathways. They have gravity manipulation technology small enough to be carried by a single soldier, another Drekari official hissed. If what you say is true, why have they not used these weapons to claim more territory? They have only 3 colony worlds. Because they are patient, Breskar said. They are studying us, all of us, learning our weaknesses while hiding their strengths. In the council chamber, many representatives shifted uncomfortably. Councillor Zixtal, who had laughed so loudly at the beginning, now watched with narrowed eyes. The footage continued. The Drekari War Master circled the hologram pedestal, watching the images of humans deploying their advanced weapons. If they are so dangerous, he said, perhaps we should strike now before they grow stronger. Breskar shook his head. That would be a mistake, War Master. They do not seek conflict, but they are prepared for it in ways we cannot match. We have faced many species. Not like this one, Breskar interrupted, a serious breach of protocol that caused gasps among the assembled Drekari. The humans have spent their entire history fighting each other. They have mastered the art of war through thousands of years of continuous practice. The War Master's scales flushed with anger. You suggest the Drekari should fear these humans? Suggest we should respect them, Breskar answered, and leave them alone. The scene shifted to a human diplomatic facility. Lisa Harmon sat at a large table across from 2 Drekari representatives. One was Breskar, now dressed in formal diplomatic attire rather than battle armor. The other was a female Drekari with iridescent blue scales. Ambassador Harmon, the female Drekari began. I am Siraval, chief diplomat of the Drekari Imperium. We have reviewed the incident at Epsilon Indi 4 and wish to formalize relations with Earth. Lisa's expression remained neutral. The incident you referred to resulted in the death of a human scientist. A regrettable action taken by an overzealous commander, Siraval said smoothly. One the Imperium officially condemns. Lisa glanced at Breskar, who met her gaze steadily. Commander Breskar has been reassigned to our diplomatic corps, Siraval continued. His experience with humans makes him valuable in his new role. I see, Lisa said. And what kind of relations does the Drekari Imperium envision with Earth? Peaceful ones, Siraval replied without hesitation. We propose a non-aggression treaty, followed by potential trade agreements. Lisa raised an eyebrow. This is a significant change in Drekari policy. Your people have never sought formal treaties with species you consider less advanced. Breskar spoke for the first time. Perspectives change, Ambassador. Mine certainly has. The hologram shifted again, showing a montage of scenes. Drekari and human ships passing peacefully in space. Scientific teams from both species working together on a frontier world. A formal signing ceremony between human and Drekari leaders. Lisa's voice narrated over the images. In the 6 months since the Epsilon Indi incident, relations between humans and the Drekari have completely transformed. Not only have they ceased all aggression against human settlements, but they have become one of our strongest advocates in the unaligned regions of space. The footage returned to the council chamber, but from 6 months earlier. A Drakari representative, Vreskar, himself stood at the speaker's podium. The Drakari Imperium formally requests observer status on the Galactic Council, he announced. We recognize that our past actions have not aligned with Council principles. We seek to change that with the guidance of our human allies. The scene shifted to show Lisa Harmon in what appeared to be her private office. She looked directly at the camera. The Council needs to understand something important about humans, she said. We don't want conflict. We would prefer peaceful coexistence with all species. But our history has shaped us in ways that make us dangerous when threatened. She stood and walked to a large window overlooking Earth from orbit. The blue planet spun slowly below. For most of our history, humans fought each other, she continued. We developed weapons of mass destruction. We created viruses that could wipe out millions. We built machines designed solely to kill more efficiently. She touched the window. When we finally achieved peace among ourselves and looked to the stars, we discovered a galaxy of older, more established species. Most had evolved past warfare, centuries or millennia ago. They had technologies we could barely comprehend. In the council chamber, many representatives nodded in agreement. So we adapted, Lisa said. We presented ourselves as a young, somewhat primitive species still finding our way. And in many respects, that's true. But in others, she turned back to face the camera. In the areas of defense, weaponry, and tactical thinking, humans have advantages that come from our violent past. We have technologies we've kept hidden not out of malice but out of caution. The footage showed human scientists in a massive underground facility. They worked on devices that glowed with strange energies. Some manipulated what appeared to be gravity itself. Others programmed nanites smaller than dust particles. These technologies were developed in secret, Lisa explained, not to threaten the galactic community, but to ensure our survival in it. We are surrounded by species that could destroy us if they wished. We needed insurance. Back in her office, Lisa sat down again. The incident with the Drakari revealed some of our capabilities, not all of them, not even most of them, but enough to change how some species view us. She leaned toward the camera. That's why I'm here today. That's why I'm proposing that humans be added to the restricted species list, not because we pose an imminent danger to the galaxy, but because we recognize what we are capable of. The hologram froze on Lisa's face, her expression solemn and determined. In the real council chamber, Lisa Harmon looked up at the representatives. The silence was complete. There is one final section, she said quietly. May I continue? Grand Arbiter Vexcor nodded, his glowing veins pulsing slowly. Please, Ambassador, complete your presentation. The final part of the hologram began with Admiral Jack Harrison addressing a closed session of Earth's United Government. The chamber was smaller than the Galactic Council's, but still impressive, with representatives from all major Earth nations, seated in a semicircle. The incident at Epsilon Indy 4 has changed our standing in the galaxy, Harrison said. Our response to the Drakari attack revealed capabilities we've kept hidden for decades. A woman in a blue suit stood up. Admiral, was this revelation intentional? No, President Rivera, Harrison replied. But once the decision was made to rescue our people, we had limited options. The Defiant used the least advanced technology necessary to complete the mission safely. Least advanced? Another representative asked incredulously. From what I understand, they deployed targeted nanite weapons and portable gravity manipulators. These are technologies most of the galaxy believes are still theoretical. Harrison nodded. Yes, and we have more advanced systems that remain classified. The chamber grew quiet. The question now, Harrison continued, is how we proceed. Several species have already reached out with new diplomatic overtures. Some appear interested in alliance, others in technology exchange. And the Drakari? President Rivera asked. They've proposed a non-aggression treaty. Their entire approach to us has changed. A thin man with gray hair raised his hand. Are we in danger of provoking fear among the older species? The Council, races might see us as a potential threat now. That's a valid concern, Secretary Wu, Harrison acknowledged, which is why Ambassador Harmon has suggested a bold move. The hologram showed Lisa entering the chamber. She carried the same calm confidence she displayed in the council chamber. "Ladies and gentlemen," she began, "for 50 years we've presented ourselves to the galaxy as a young, somewhat naive species still finding our footing among the stars. That image has served us well. It has kept us safe from those who might see us as competition or threat." Lisa walked to the center of the chamber. "But that image is now compromised. The Drakari incident has revealed some of our true capabilities. While most species still don't know the full extent of our technological advancement, they now have reason to wonder what else we're hiding." "What do you propose, Ambassador?" President Rivera asked. "A preemptive action," Lisa replied. "I will petition the Galactic Council to add humans to the list of restricted species under Law 5962. Murmurs spread through the chamber. "You want us to be classified alongside the Vaklath Horde?" Secretary Wu asked in disbelief. "They've destroyed entire star systems. The restricted list isn't just for aggressive species," Lisa explained. "It's for any species the Council believes requires special protocols for interaction with the wider galaxy. By proposing this ourselves, we demonstrate responsibility and self-awareness." "And what would these restrictions entail?" President Rivera asked. "Limits on our expansion beyond current territories, oversight of our military development, regular inspections of certain facilities." "That sounds like giving up our sovereignty," a military officer objected. "It's a trade-off," Lisa admitted. "We give up some freedom of action in exchange for something more valuable: trust. We show the galaxy that humans understand our own destructive potential and want safeguards in place." The scene shifted back to the present in the Galactic Council chamber. The hologram showed Lisa making her final address to the Earth government. "Our choice is simple," she said. "We can continue to hide our true capabilities and be viewed with increasing suspicion, or we can acknowledge what we are and work within a system of mutual safeguards." She looked around the Earth chamber. "We humans developed incredible technologies through centuries of conflict with ourselves. We turned our talent for destruction into tools that could benefit the entire galaxy. But that same talent makes us dangerous. The responsible path forward is to acknowledge that danger and accept reasonable limitations." The hologram faded, leaving only Lisa Harmon standing before the council. She looked up at the assembled representatives, all traces of their earlier laughter now gone. "That concludes my evidence," she said quietly. The chamber remained silent for several long moments. Finally, Grand Arbiter Vexcor spoke. "Ambassador Harmon, you have given us much to consider. Your proposal to add humans to the restricted species list is unexpected." Lisa nodded. "We understand it's unusual for a species to request such status." "Unprecedented," Vexcor corrected. "In the Council's 18,000-year history, no species has ever asked to be restricted." From his seat, Councillor Zixtal rose to his feet. The Aerathi, who had laughed the loudest at Lisa's proposal, now looked solemn. "Grand Arbiter," he said, "I wish to address the Council." "Proceed, Councillor." Zixtal looked around the chamber. "When Ambassador Harmon first proposed adding humans to the restricted list, I found it amusing. Humans are newcomers to the galactic stage, with a handful of colony worlds and seemingly basic technology." He paused. "I was wrong. What we have seen today demonstrates that humans possess not only advanced capabilities but also something rarer: the wisdom to recognize their own destructive potential." Zixtal turned to face Lisa. "The Arathi Confederation formally seconds the motion to add humans to the restricted species list under Law 5962. Murmurs spread through the chamber. Vexcor raised his hands for silence. "This is a serious matter requiring full deliberation," the Arbiter said. "We will recess for one standard day to consider the evidence and proposal." The next day, the Council reconvened. Representatives from all 500 member species filed into the chamber. The mood was solemn, with none of the laughter that had marked the previous session. Grand Arbiter Vexcor called the session to order. We have reviewed Ambassador Harmon's proposal and evidence. The Council will now vote on adding humans to the restricted species list under Law 5962. One by one, the representatives cast their votes. Lisa watched as the tally grew on the large display above the chamber. When the final vote was counted, the result was clear: unanimous approval. The motion passes, Vexicor announced. Humans are now subject to the human containment protocols under Law 5962. Ambassador Harmon, the Council recognizes and appreciates humanity's wisdom in requesting these restrictions. Lisa bowed slightly. Thank you, Arbiter. Earth will fully comply with all protocols. As the formal session ended, representatives began to file out of the chamber. Lisa gathered her materials, preparing to return to the Earth Embassy. Ambassador. She turned to find Grand Arbiter Vexcor standing nearby. The ancient Morvani had approached her privately. Yes, Arbiter? Vexcor's translucent skin pulsed with glowing veins as he studied her. I have served on this council for over 200 years. In that time I have seen many species rise and fall, some through conquest, others through cooperation. And where do you see humans in that spectrum? Lisa asked. That, Vexcor said, is what makes your species so interesting. Your potential points in all directions at once. He stepped closer, lowering his voice. If this is what humans can do as newcomers to the galactic stage, what will you be capable of in 1,000 years? Lisa smiled faintly. That's what scares us too. Vexcor nodded slowly. Then perhaps there is hope for us all. He turned to leave, then paused. The Council laughed at your proposal yesterday, Ambassador. No one is laughing today. Remember that lesson. I will, Lisa promised. As she watched the Grand Arbiter walk away, Lisa felt the weight of responsibility on her shoulders. Humanity had taken its first step toward a new kind of relationship with the galaxy, not based on deception or dominance, but on honest acknowledgement of what they were. The species that had spent millennia perfecting the art of war was now using that knowledge to forge a lasting peace. And somewhere in deep space, a Drakari commander turned diplomat was telling others to be careful around the humans. Not because they were cruel or aggressive, but because when pushed, they were capable of anything. The galaxy would never laugh at humans again.